Say the line, Jason.
It's too bluesy.
Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing on our Led Zeppelin series with this massive double album right here. Physical Graffiti. So, real quick, before we begin, I'd just like everyone to know that if you have not, please make sure to subscribe to all of our lovely members here. Nick from Townsend 505, Bron-Yr from Bron-Yr-Aur's Music Showcase, Jacob from Jacob Martin, Jason from Jason the Old Millennial. Bron-Yr, would you like to give us the background information? Background information!
Yes, I would. All right, so a couple big things since the last album. Of course, the last album, House of the Holy, was their final album under their label Atlantic, and so they decided to make their own independent label, Swan Song Records. You might be familiar with the logo, which that's a little bit right there, that little swan back there. But yeah, it was that because of that they were able to expand, be able to have more control creatively, and they took full advantage of that. So, funny thing, it was around this time, they were still touring a lot, and one thing that happened was that John Paul Jones actually was beginning to get burnt out a little bit. He was even thinking of quitting until Peter Grant, their manager, was able to convince him, like, no, please stay. You're needed here. And so Jones was like, okay, fine, I'll stick around. And and yeah, he would kind of stay with the band until the remaining of the length of the lifetime of the band. So they began recording this album originally in the Ronnie Lane's mobile studio, but they kind of got kicked out because it was around that time Bad Company was also signed to Swan Song Records. And so they kind of had Bad Company record in there, and so the band had to record somewhere else. Um, and they did find a spot, and they kept recording. They had 8 songs recorded for the album, and a lot of the songs were pretty long. And because the songs were a bit longer than usual, it seemed like they could make a double album. But the thing is, they didn't have enough to fulfill a double album, and so they were like, okay, now what do we do? And so they decided to kind of go back in some of their archives and go back to some songs they had in their catalog, in their vault, that they had, with songs that were close to being done but didn't really um get completed on specific albums, which we'll go into more depth later on. But decided to bring those songs in and to fill out the album, and there you go. That's how you got the double album here. And then they released it. This came out in February 24th, 1975. So 2 years since the last album. And of course, critically and commercially, this was another smash hit. This got #1 in the UK, #3 in the US, and it's another one of their big time sellers. This went 16 times platinum. And so, yep, it's considered one of their classic albums here. This is usually somewhere in like top 3 at least for most people. And of course, we talked a little bit about the album cover, but the album cover itself has become a little iconic. It is a real building in New York that they got the image from, and hopefully I got the address right. It's 96 and 98 St. Mark's Place. So that's where it is. Of course, they had to crop it because I think one of the buildings has a fifth floor, or there is a fifth floor to both buildings, but it wouldn't fit. So they had to cut down. They had to pretty much edit out one floor. So now it's just 4 floors, but it works. And of course, the big great feature is that you can take the windows out, and you can do it on the CD as well. You can take the windows out and you can flip them around if you wanted to, which is kind of nice little trick, nice little thing there. Kind of makes it different from the other albums. And another little thing here, little last little fun fact about the building is that I think it was sometime in the early 80s, the Rolling Stones actually made a music video at this exact building for their song Waiting for a Friend. So just a little side note there. But other than that, that's pretty much all the background info on Physical Graffiti.
More about the Swan Song label. You know Led Zeppelin and their mythology. This comes from the myth of the flight of Icarus, which apparently was about like Minos put Theseus in the maze with the Minotaur and he got out. And so he like jailed the guy who made it. And the guy who made it like tried to escape from prison by making some wings, but he flew too close to the sun and got burnt. So that's where that comes from. Custard Pie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, first song, Custard Pie. Another food. Seems like we've had some foods before, I feel like.
Yeah.
On Led Zeppelin, if I remember right. It seems like Bron-Yr-Aur always names himself after a food or something. It's my memory, but
It's delicious.
I like apple pie and cherry pie. I don't know about custard pie, I guess. But anyways,
You know why it's the custard pie?
No.
Because the cherry pie needed cooling.
You got there. I didn't know how you were going to get there, but you got there. Yeah, this song, overall, it's okay. Like the guitars are still Led Zeppelin. It's still got some good guitar work here. Plant, I don't know, his vocals aren't nearly as good on this album, just in general, saying and in the song as like the other albums before this. I feel like there's nothing real memorable here as far as like catchiness. Rob Plant just really killing on vocals. It's just I listen to it and I go, yeah, okay, like it's a song, but it's not something that stays with me at all.
All right, Jason, I can't answer what you were saying about you didn't think Robert Plant sounded as good on this album. Come to find out, Robert Plant had some vocal surgery in between Album Holy and Physical Graffiti.
Okay.
And I think there were some critics who accused Robert Plant's vocals of being weak. I completely disagree. I think he sounds just as good here as he did on the other albums. With that said, though, I think I'm going to disagree with Jason. I think this is a really good album opener. It has some great guitar on it. I love the bass instrument, and I thought this was a really strong way of opening the album. There's one song we'll get to on side one that I feel like should have been the true album opener. I did a J cut of Kashmir. Oh no, I think I might have spoiled what that song was. I did a J cut of Physical Graffiti where I put what I feel like should have been the opener and what should have been the front to make it a tighter, better paced album. This is still a good song. It's probably one of the better songs on side one. I do enjoy this one a lot. I don't know if it's like an all timer, but I enjoyed it.
Okay. So honestly speaking, I think this song is okay. I mean, I definitely like the groove. The groove on this is amazing. I just think that there are better songs on the album. Now, John Bonham and John Paul Jones have really got the groove going on this one. I like that the clavichord or clavinet or whatever John Paul Jones is playing on this. I also think that there are other songs that would have made a better opener to the album, but that might just be my hot take, my trampled under hot take.
Right. So for me, yeah, I've always enjoyed the song. It's not my favorite song on the album, but I still think it's a pretty solid opening track. I see it more as like it's a song that's like it's not supposed to be in your face. It's kind of like ease you into the album, like just a nice subtle way to kind of get yourself ready for what's to come later. But that being said, I've always enjoyed it. Like I enjoy again the guitar work on here has always been something I've always enjoyed. We kind of mentioned already, but John Paul Jones on the clavinet. Of course, he was actually heavily inspired by Stevie Wonder around the time. He was actually listening to a ton of his music, and that's why there's a lot of clavinet on this album. And again, there's a great drum groove by Bonham here, and even pretty cool at the very end. Robert Plant does a little harmonica solo, which is kind of nice.
I love this song. I'm definitely the one who loves this song the most out of all six of us. This isn't like my top favorite song on the full album, but I think the song's amazing. I love the groove of it. I love Plant's vocals. I love the chorus at the end. Chewing a piece of your custard pie. Always love that part. I love the groove. Like I said, the groove of it is really what makes the song really good.
All right, the Rover.
All right. Same thing as the first song. This exact same thing for me for this one. It's just okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just I listen to it and then I forget it exists.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on this one either. I don't think it's a garbage song or anything. There's a good groove on this song, good guitar work and everything. But out of all the songs we'll be talking about on side one, this one to me just comes in one ear and out the other. The only thing that stands out to me on this song is at the end, Robert Plant goes repeatedly, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Why did you turn to a Valley girl all of a sudden? I would say of the 6 songs on side one, this is the weakest on that half of the album.
Okay, this is a Houses of the Holy outtake, 1973. Out of everyone so far, I like this song the most, more than Jacob and Jason. I really like John Bonham's drumming on this song, and I like the guitar riff. When I first heard this song, I thought it was like, is this the only Led Zeppelin political song? Is it was something about like making the world better and joining hands, but apparently it's more mythology. It's sometime like in the early days when people thought the earth was flat, there was a myth about people who wanted to sail to the end of the earth and like discover a new world. So that's what it's about. The name of the boat was the Rover.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I love this song. This is actually one of my favorites here. This is actually one of the songs I go back to one of the most frequently. Well, not the most frequently, but one of those. I've always enjoyed this song. Again, it has like love the drumming on here. Again, the guitar work is very, very nice here. Again, that guitar melody is always something I always remember. Yeah, and really the guitar was really the big thing here, along with the drums. And even though Robert Plant is doing like a Valley Girl thing, I love it. Like
Of course you do.
he slays. I'm just like you just grooving along with it. Yeah, I just love the vibe of it. Yeah, I really enjoy the song.
That's a good way of putting it. He did slay it. He awesome. I could get where Jacob and Jason are coming from. But I personally really love this song. I'm with Bron-Y-Aur. This is a song I go back to a lot. And this is not even like my favorite song on the album. That should just prove how great this album is. This is just another epic Zeppelin song on an epic album. Love this song so much.
In my time of giant.
You know what I'm gonna say about this?
Say the line, Jason.
It's too bluesy. It's so long. It's so boring. It's like 11 minutes, I think. God, when I got to the song and I saw it was 11 minutes, I go, oh God, this is gonna be terrible, isn't it? And sure enough, I listened to it going, oh man, like this is the Led Zeppelin I don't like. I like Whole Lot of Love, like Black Dog. I love really good rock riffs or even some acoustic stuff, but this is stuff that's like on Led Zeppelin 1, and I really did not like Led Zeppelin 1 at all because it had songs like this on it that just made me go to sleep when I listened to it. So I know I'm maybe the only one that's gonna say that, but that's just me. I like Led Zeppelin when they certain styles. This is not the style that I like personally. It's just not for me.
All right. Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right. Well, this is my favorite song on side one. I love this track. This one is 11 minutes of epic guitar playing, powerful vocals from Robert Plant. Probably one of the more profound songs they've ever done because it's talking about death, and it even references spiritual aspects like heaven and the angels and Jesus. I wasn't expecting Zeppelin to go there. I actually respect them for crafting a song like this.
Hey, if you listen to Bob Dylan's debut, you'll find out where they crafted that song from. It's a traditional spiritual covered by Bob Dylan.
But I think this is an excellent song. When I first heard this, there's this cool little build up, and then John Bonham goes, "Wah, I jumped out of my seat when that happened. I was like, whoa, this has some amazing production in it. It's also a cool jam session. I love there's a really amazing guitar solo midway through. Robert Plant absolutely slays the vocals on it. And then it builds up to this amazing finish, and you expect him to say something deep, and it's like, in my time I died. Oh, I was like, and I read they did the song in one take, and they loved the take so much, and even with the blooper, they weren't going to do it again, and they thought that was a funny way to close out the song. I genuinely believe this should have been the album closer, and that's going to be one of my biggest issues with this album, is that this song is so amazing. It baffles me that they made this the third song on the album when it should have been the last one.
So I like it a lot more than Jason, but not as much as Jacob. I love it's just kind of like a ballad at the beginning, like a slow build up, and then what Jacob was talking about whenever John Bonham comes in. Boom, boom, boom. But my favorite part is the the ending is hilarious. Almost rivals the end of the Crunge, not quite as funny, but still very unexpected and funny. He goes cough, and then there's like oh, that's gonna be the take, isn't it? But yeah, I really like this song.
So I don't think I've ever voiced my opinion on the song officially. And so
You're on the record.
Ah.
yeah. So yeah. You're gonna find out right now.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so yep, it is a long song. It is 11 minutes, and it's their absolute bluesiest. And little funny story is that I was actually re-listening to this album earlier today, and I just got out of my class and I'm about to go to the bus station and get ready to go home. And so I decided to okay, I might as well just play the album while I'm there. And while I'm walking, I get through Custard Pie and the Rover, and I'm waiting there, and then this song comes in, and then I'm like, okay. And you have that slow build in, of course, that very kind of ballady type of thing, where it's mainly just the guitar. And again, it has this really chill vibe. And then I'm just listening, and I'm kind of just waiting because the bus doesn't come to about 20 minutes. So I have to wait there for a bit. And then the drums kick in, and I'm like, okay, like I forgot about that. And then again, it keeps going. Then it starts getting to this groove, and then I'm like, okay, I'm like really digging the groove here. And eventually it keeps building and building. The song gets faster and faster, and I'm just like, okay, this is good. Pretty much at that point, I was just like moving around to this, and people are looking at me. People are like, "What's he doing?" I'm like, "I don't care." And so I'm just having a great time with this song now. Really great. I mean, the drumming is phenomenal on here, and one thing I don't think we mentioned is that, of course, John Paul Jones, he's on a fretless bass on this track. It was like, wow, just such a good bass line to this. And yeah, Robert Plant's vocals is just absolutely killer. One of his finest moments on this album, I think. And again, it just has a great heavy sound to it. And again, his bottom's drum gets even more intense. He starts really going even much more complex fills. And another great guitar solo, gets faster until it comes back down for the end. And by the time the song was over, the bus arrived, and I'm like, man, that was a great 11 minutes of my life right there. And so yeah, it's a great song. I really do enjoy it. It's not my favorite on this first disc, but it's definitely pretty high. So yeah, great song.
My turn. I will agree with Jason on one thing. Well, two things. One, it's a bluesy song, and two, it's a long song.
Okay.
Something I will disagree on is that it is not bad. I love this song. So love. Mike will love this song. The song is epic. The song is triumphant. This is as of going chronologically through these albums, going through each song, this is the best song that they've made so far, going through each song so far.
Yeah, so I say too long, too bluesy, bad. You're saying too long, too bluesy, great. We're like saying the same thing, but yet different outtakes at the end.
So the next song is called Physical Graffiti. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's called Houses of the Holy on the album Physical Graffiti and not on the album Houses of the Holy.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is the only time that we've ever gotten a title from an album on the Led Zeppelins. I don't think there's any Led Zeppelin 2 songs out there or song total. It's exactly like Custard Pie and the Rover. Just like it was okay. I don't really remember much about it. I just remember just being like, oh, okay, like the guitars are still good. Like they're not great like riffs that I remember. I go back to and go, oh man, that was a great riff. I just go, yeah, that was fine, just move on with my life.
So yeah, this song is kind of two halves for me. I actually think this song would have worked great on Houses of the Holy, because it's the title of the album. I think if you swap Houses of the Holy with some of the worst songs on that album, I think I would have given that album a higher score. I think this is a great song in general. I'm not sure if it fully fits on Physical Graffiti. It feels like an outtake on Physical Graffiti because, well, it is. But I can't deny this is a really good song. I love especially the guitar and bass going hand in hand on the riff. I think it adds for a really unique dynamic. I think if this was on House of the Holy, this probably would have been in my top 5 from the album because I think it's a really good rock song. Physical Graffiti, if we're doing all the songs, it won't make my top 5, but still a really good song.
I'm not too big on this song.
Oh, really?
I like the guitar riff, but it's just okay. So what I have to say is more about the history of the song. Robert Plant said that doing concerts almost felt like a religious experience, and so Houses of the Holy refers to the concert auditorium. And Briar, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's what I kind of got out of the song. But to me, it's there. There are 2 better songs on this second side of the album.
I really enjoy this song. I think this is also I think I'm the one that's liking this song the most. This is also the song I play pretty frequently. And yeah, it's true that this was supposed to be on House of the Holy, but actually the song that actually took its place was actually Dancing Days. And I'm like, I kind of would have swapped those two. Scott was right. This song is about, Robert Plant kind of seeing their live shows as some kind of religious thing, even though it's probably not that holy, if we're going to be honest. I mean, there's a line that references a sword of gold. Take your time. You'll figure out what that's supposed to be metaphor for.
I think in like the Devil's Daughter is supposed to be the groupie or whatever.
Something on that line. But besides that, I'm not gonna have the lyrics taint my appreciation for the song. I think it's I really enjoyed the guitar riff on it. And again, the groove on here is something I always enjoyed.
That explains the scene, and the song remains the same whenever he's beating up the bad guys with his overly exaggerated sword.
There you go. That's it. It's all coming together. But yeah, I also really like the second half, especially towards the second half. I think Robert's really belting it out a lot more on the second half. Yeah, it's just a very memorable song. And yeah, I enjoy it. Again, not in terms of the first disc, it's not one of my it's not in the top 3, but still, it's a fun song.
I'm in agreement with Briar. The song's awesome. Yeah, I was like, I think I might be the only one who really likes the song, and then Briar comes in and swoops in and saves the day on that. I love this song so much. It's the way that Robert Plant sings on it is amazing. Love the guitar riff. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's probably towards the bottom of my song rankings of this particular disc, but I really, really love this song. This is, to me, in my opinion, way more than just an okay song.
All right, so we're getting to number 5, Trampled Underfoot. Listening to this album, going through the first 4 songs, like I said, it just felt like such a disappointment. I'm like, man, after listening to Led Zeppelin 4 and House of the Holy, and I'm like, this is the first 4 songs on this album. I'm like, gosh, this is just so under what I think they can do. And I get to Trampled Underfoot, and I'm like listening to it again. And part of the problem here is none of these songs are songs I've ever heard on the radio, So I'm just coming to these almost brand new. Like every time I come to this album, I'm just like, I don't remember any of this stuff except for Kashmir, you know. So I'm like, so it's almost like a new listen every time. I'm like, I listened to this album, but I don't remember a lot of this stuff. And so I'm listening to Trampled and Foot, and again, I'm like listening, going, okay, I don't know this song, don't really remember anything about it. And I'm like, I just like, I'm at first, I'm like, it just feels like another, just okay song. But as I'm listening to it, the guitar riff just kind of starts getting to me, and I'm starting to go, huh, I kind of like this guitar riff. I was like, this was a good song. Like that riff was real catchy, and it just stuck in my head. And it was the first song on this album so far that I'm like, come away going, man, I'll go listen to that song again.
What's funny, this was released as a single, and I never heard the song before until I listened to the album. The only ones I had heard on the radio were Houses of the Holy and Kashmir. But yeah, this one, I was told beforehand if you thought the grunge was funky, well, you listen to this song. I listened to this song and I'm like, yeah, they doubled down on those elements that they did on the grunge, which I still will highly defend that song, the grunge. The guitar riff in this song is awesome. Some good percussion on this song. And I gotta say, Robert Plant, the way he's singing on this album, he's like really he's really going all out on the vocals here, very over the top. Some weird analogies though in the song, like he's comparing like sexual relationships with cars. I'm like,
if only I had a nickel for every time someone did that, Roger
We'd be
Taylor.
rich.
This is really weird. I don't know how I feel listening to that, but on a production level, this song is amazing, and it's one of the it's probably one of my favorite songs on this half of the album.
I think the stupidest one is where he's like, I took a look inside the showroom. It's like, oh my goodness, bruh.
Yeah. I think God says, "Let me look under your hood." I'm glad I took a look or something like that. I'm like, okay.
That's stupid.
Let me love you till the cows come home.
I'm gonna love it till the cows come home.
Till the cows come home.
I love you more till I walk out that door. I love John Paul Jones's clavinet on this. That's really the driving force behind it, between that and Jimmy Page's guitar riff and John Bonham's thunderous drumming. One of the things I really like is in the middle, like a lot of the guitar fills are reverse guitar, or it's either that or Jimmy Page is playing with some kind of reverse delay on his guitar, which gives that sound effect like the guitar's getting sucked right off the record. I think that's a really cool effect. I really like the breakdown whenever just John Paul Jones and the keyboard was like. This is another one of the songs that was inspired by Stevie Wonder, hence the clavinet that Bron-Y-Aur was talking about. And I also kind of think that this may have been inspired by the Doobie Brothers as well, because you can sing Long Train Running along with it, and it totally makes sense.
Yep, I don't have much else to add to this because I think everyone else has summed it up. Yeah, this is, again, another one of their funk songs, and to me is by far their best one. Again, John Paul Jones is just going to town on the clavinet, and yeah, it just drives the whole song, as well as Bonham's drumming on here. And the guitars just very infectious, really hooks you in, and yeah, it's just a great song. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites on this album.
I really love this song. I'm kind of with Bron-Y-Aur. I think everyone else pretty much summed it up pretty well. It's a really good funk song. I prefer the crunch a lot more, but this is also an amazing song. And they're 5 for 5 for amazing songs on this album for me.
The theme from King Kong or Godzilla, whatever it was.
King Kong. That was great. Yeah, so back in, I want to say maybe 1996, I want to say, somewhere in that time period. I don't remember, somewhere in that mid-90s period. I watched every Saturday Night Live. Like, I never missed Saturday Night Live. Like, I was a huge fan. And I was watching Saturday Night Live, and the musical guest was Puff Daddy, who, if you know, at that time he was called Puff Daddy. He changed his name since. You might know him as Sean Combs, but he went by the rapper name Puff Daddy, which rapper names are such the weird names. Like anytime someone has a weird name, I'm like, he must be a rapper because no one would name themselves that, but a rapper.
My name's
Anyway, so
Eminem.
so Puff Daddy's on there and he's singing this song from the Godzilla soundtrack or whatever, the new Godzilla movie, which man, that thing was huge. I mean, it was advertised. I was so excited, saw that, opening weekend with my family and was, really liked the movie as a kid. Later I found out that nobody likes that movie. And as a kid though, I'm like, big scary monster, running around whatever, New York, whatever. I thought it was cool. Anyways, and it was a big summer blockbuster movie. Anyways, and so yeah, Puff Daddy comes on and they start this, and there's this old guy with gray hair, and there's an orchestra, and the song was like called "Come to Me" or something like that. I don't know if anybody knows this, but it's like "Come to Me," come to me or something like that, if I remember right. I haven't gone back to that song, but that's my memory of it. Anyway, so he kind of raps the song, but my memory was like, I was like, wow, that is like the coolest like riff I've ever heard in my life. And the guy playing guitar is playing that bum 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 bum, and the orchestra is going bum bum bum. I'm like, this is so cool. Like I thought it was such a cool Puff Daddy song. I'm like, wow, this is I don't know who Puff Daddy. I don't know Puff Daddy that well. I'm like, this is like the coolest Puff Daddy song I've ever heard. Well, I find out later that this is actually a Led Zeppelin song called Kashmir, which I don't know if they ever say Kashmir in the song. I don't remember.
Yeah, a couple times.
I can never understand Robert Plant usually when he's singing, so I don't really pay attention to lyrics. I just
Same.
go, oh, I like what he's singing. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of cool. Unless he's singing, like a more of a ballad, I can kind of understand him. But anyways, but yeah, when I remember, yeah, coming to the song, I don't know when I came to the song for the first time, but it was much later. I came to this song and I go, and I hear this dun 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 dun. I go, oh, that's that Godzilla song. I'm like, and like in my brain, I put two together. I was like, oh, Puff Daddy was using a Led Zeppelin song to make a new song for the guy. Like I had no idea. That was funny. I just like had that moment, really it blew my mind. Like, oh, that was a Led Zeppelin song all along. Like I thought that was like the original Puff Daddy song. Like no, he covered, but it wasn't Kashmir or some other song that he made the lyrics up to the tune. Okay, which I don't know how often I think rappers do.
What you gonna tell me next? That Puff Daddy didn't write "I'll Be Missing You" as well?
As far as I know, I guess.
Okay, I like the riff on that one too. That's a catchy riff. He totally wrote.
Yeah, I think rappers are known for taking themes from other songs and using it to. I don't know. I wasn't aware of this because I grew up in a small white town, but a all white high school, so I don't know any of these things. But anyways, yeah. So when I got to the song, of course, I mean, that's a long story just to say I love this guitar riff. That once you hear it, you're like, oh yes, please, thank you. Like I need more of this. My only thing about this, the only criticism I say what I have of the song is that I think it's like maybe 2 minutes too long. Like it's like 8 minutes long, and I was like, wow, it's 8 minutes. Like I wonder why they made it so long. I feel like they could have maybe cut down a little bit, but yeah, it's an epic. It's an icon. It's the first, like, it's the only iconic song on this whole album is this song. Like, if I remember anything, if I come to this album, I won't remember any of these songs except for this one. I can always go to this one and go, yes, Kashmir. Like, I know the song. It's ingrained in my brain forever. That riff, even that image of Puff Daddy singing, like, I always remember that.
Yes, I've heard this song quite a few times during my years as a music fan. I think I've said before, for a good while, I thought this was an overrated song. I've never hated this song. I think there's great production on it. I love the guitar riff that Jason's talking about. Some amazing orchestra on this song. And some mellotron as well, which I now learned was a real instrument, thanks to Scott. Look at the last video. But I think this is a song I've just never got. There's like the production on it's great. I just never really got the hype for it until listening to this album in full. Now I can say, now I listened to the album the other night. I listened to the first half again tonight. I'm going to admit this is a great song. It might even make the top 5. We'll see. I'll see if I got to re-listen to side 2 and determine that. But I think this is one, and I think Robert Plant described this. Like he was asked the meaning of the song. Even Robert Plant doesn't know the meaning of the song. According to Robert Plant, this song is
That's
about
awesome.
the journey, the road trip, rather than the destination. And I was driving home listening to this song, and I'm like, this is actually a really awesome driving song.
Yes.
Like, especially with that production. And I love how the orchestra builds while Robert Plant's singing some of the vocals. I can't tell you what he's singing though. It's a mystery to me as well. Weird because I criticize some songs where I can't tell what he's singing, but when the song is so technically amazing like Kashmir, I don't mind, because if the song's supposed to represent like a feeling of taking a journey, sometimes the music can back that up. You get that in film score all the time, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. But yeah, I think this is a really great song. It took me maybe a good 10 years, maybe, since I got more into classic rock music to realize this is a great song. But yeah, I'm gonna say it. It's a great song.
Okay, this song is epic, but Jason and Jacob have already talked about how epic it is. I love the guitar riff, the ba-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. Jimmy Page uses an interesting tuning on this song. It's called Dadgad tuning for a reason, because the strings are tuned to D, A, D, G, A, D, which that drop tuning feel gives it a very heavy feel to it when the riff. There's a specific guitar that he has that, like, every time he does concerts, he'll pull out the specific guitar just to play this song, and it's tuned to the weird tuning. It's his Dan Electro guitar. What I really like about this song is adding the orchestra in there. I think my favorite part of the song is actually the third section, whenever John Paul Jones comes in with the mellotron, where he's like, it's like the all I see turns to brown, do do do, and then there's a mixture of mellotron and actual orchestra in there. But it's that little line he goes like the John Bonham's drumming is amazing on this song. I like the phased effect that they put on the drums, especially when he goes. They have like a phasing sound where it's like goes between speakers. It's like on its drums. Robert Plant's singing is very good, and how many of us have not, when we're alone and no one's looking, just went, "Ooh yeah, ooh yeah." I definitely have caught myself singing that. But yeah, this song is absolutely amazing.
It's a classic, so of course it's going to be a big highlight here for me. And I've read that this was actually inspired after Robert Plant was on a holiday in Morocco. And once you kind of know that, it definitely has. You hear the song, it definitely has a different feel. Like, definitely sounds like it's something different. But yeah, the band was very proud when they recorded it, and I've heard rumors that when Robert Plant heard the final mix, he actually teared up because of how amazing it sounded. And then again, the whole orchestration and the mellotron by Jones is just absolutely spectacular, which gives it that epic feel to it. And again, I just love the more ominous. It has a more ominous vibe to it that I really dig, and I think Robert does a great job delivering the lyrics to this one.
I really like this song. Sad news though. This is not only is this my least favorite song on disc 1, but it's my least favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad or anything. It's not like I don't feel the way I do with Black Dog or Rock and Roll and some other songs of theirs. But like I just think, like, compared to the other 14 tracks, it gets a little monotonous. It's not completely, like, I think this song's amazing. It doesn't dock any points with it. I think every second of this album's great. But comparing it to every song on the album, this is my least favorite on the album.
Our first track on the second half of this album, and that is the 8-minute epic, In the Light.
Yeah. Just what I like to hear. 8-minute instrumental. To start off this second side, or this second disc. Have you heard my thoughts on In the Time of Dying. I was not a fan of that song, and this is even worse. If you can look at my notes, the first thing I wrote on my notes was excruciating. And then the second thing I wrote was way too long. So that was my notes on this song. Excruciating. It was excruciating to have to get through. And yeah, I really did not like the song. It's just a long, boring instrumental. I could do without half of this album. And I only listened to about half the song and then I quit. So I just expected, oh, this must be instrumental because I haven't heard any singing in freaking 2 minutes. Man, this is good stuff. The guitar part's great. The bass is killing it on this song. I remember the drums, of course, are amazing.
Okay, so this is not an instrumental. We've clarified that. This is another like extended ballad. I like In My Time of Dying a lot more. This one is still pretty good. I like the synth part at the beginning. I thought that was a cool intro. There's some good vocals on it. I think it's hard because you got 2 epic ballads, actually 3 if you count 10 Years Gone along with it. We'll get to that one. You got 3 of those on this album, and I think this one kind of feels lost in the shuffle to me compared to some of the other songs on the album. But on its own, it's a pretty solid song. But I think I like some of the other like epic songs better than this one.
Okay. I think this song is really cool. I like how it starts out very ominously. There's a hurdy-gurdy on here, if you know what that is. John Paul Jones plays the hurdy-gurdy, playing around with some synthesizer noises, and then Robert Plant comes in and he's got that. It's a very ominous opening, and then John Bonham's drumming is really good on the. But I still think this is a good song.
This is another song I really enjoyed. I do get Jason, because when I first heard the song, I did think the intro went a bit long, but again, kind of revisiting this album again, I kind of started to really pay attention to it, and I'm like, oh, it's a very interesting sound because it has almost drone effects. Like you're kind of in this like has a very different feel than a lot of this stuff on the album, but it's very interesting. And then you have Robert Plant coming in the vocals. There's like some kind of effect on it. I can't tell what effect it is, but it definitely has a pretty interesting feel. I do like how it sounds. And then about 2.5 minutes in, that's when it starts to pick up. That's when again you have that drum groove from Bonham, which again a very great drum groove as he's always done throughout this whole album. There's some really great guitar melody in this one, and about 4 minutes in, you have this very nice keyboard riff that Jones is doing, which again very nice. I think that's a very memorable part. And I do like the end. You have a little nice guitar solo. So yeah, overall, a very great song. I really enjoyed this one.
This was hard.
Nick's disappointed.
Those first 2 reviews were hard to listen to. Now I know how Jason and Jacob felt about the Stairway thing. The beginning is so awesome. I love the intro. It's really epic. Then you have the weird vocal effects when they come in, and then just it gives me an eargasm every time. I always in the light.
This is getting to be more divisive than our Houses of the Holy episode right here. Bron-Yr-Aur.
Yeah, it's just another really boring instrumental track that I didn't care for. Not much to say.
I'm not real big on instrumentals, so even though this is only like 2 minutes long, it does nothing for me. If I want a good song about Bron-Yr-Aur, I'll just stick to Bron-Yr-Aur Stomp from Zeppelin 3. That song's amazing. And plus, it's a catchy song with good vocals in it.
I'm a guitar player, so I like this song. However, it's not one of my favorites on the album. I do think there's some very good acoustic guitar playing here. It's a Led Zeppelin 3 outtake. Yeah, this should have been on Led Zeppelin 3. I know it's an outtake, but like doesn't really fit with the tone of the rest of the album.
By default, this is going to be my least favorite song on the album because again, it's a very short acoustic piece. Again, just kind of there to kind of fill a little bit of space here. Again, it's not bad. I like it, but again, it's kind of the one I don't really go back to on its own.
I really like this. I'm the only one who really likes this track. I think it's great, especially after the moodiness of In the Light. I think it works really well. It's like here you got this really doom and gloom kind of track, and then you got this like really like kind of lighthearted instrumental after. I think it really works really well.
We are going to get to another outtake from Led Zeppelin's untitled album, and this one is called Down by the Seaside. Man, I hope everybody likes this song, because this seems of all the songs on the second side, one that it's most likely for everyone to like, but we'll see.
Boy, that puts me in an awkward position now.
Yep, spotlight's on you.
My notes for this is slightly better than the last two, but still very boring. That's my notes on it. So still not a fan of what I'm hearing, but it's gonna get better.
It's gonna get better.
I think this song sucks. I love this song. I love I think the simplistic guitars on this song. I like how laid back it is. At first, when I first heard it, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it because I wasn't a big fan of Robert Plant's vocal distortion. But the more I listen to it, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually digging this song. There's some really cool guitar work on this song. I think there's some piano on this track too that adds to it. I like the tempo change. I think midway into the song where it rocks out a little bit more, then cuts back into the breeziness of the song. Like this is I think I prefer some of the songs on side one over this, but I think if we're putting both songs on both sides, like all the 15, like this is in my top 5 on the album. I will say that. I think it sounds pretty awesome.
I love how it starts off very happy and breezy, like down by the seaside. But then you get to the middle section and it, like John Bonham comes in with the drums and it gets a little more and they kind of rock out a bit like Jacob was talking about, and then it just goes right back to the down by the seaside.
Well, it says Down by the Seaside, so we're back to my neck of the woods again. Funny enough, this was actually originally a Led Zeppelin 4 outtake. And I heard it was originally in just a pure acoustic track. But they got back to this one, they kind of changed it pretty drastically. This was mainly a Page and Bonham type of song. And overall, another song I really enjoy. This is another song I always go back to this one quite a bit. It's just singing about nature, basically, about simple things in life, and it has a very nostalgic feel to it. I don't know why, but when I listen to the song, I definitely kind of look back on certain things.
This song's amazing. This is another amazing song. I'm the only one who's loving every single song on this album so far, and I'm gonna be the only one who loves every track on this album. This is such a good song. I love the groove of it. I love the beginning, and I especially love the middle, where it gets really fast paced, and then I love how it gets really slow at the end, kind of like what Brian was mentioning before. This is another great song. I think everyone's really working well. It's another just fantastic song.
10 years gone.
All right, so far on this album, I would say there's like 2 songs that I liked on the first disc or whatever. Trampled Underfoot and Kashmir. The only 2 I gave positive reviews for. So we get to this side, and I've so far not liked the first 3 songs. It's been not good at all. Now, 10 through 15 are all good songs that I'm going to give positive reviews for. This is definitely the best part of the whole album. In fact, it's weird it took this long to get to some good songs, and I'm like, all right, finally, we're getting somewhere. I'm like, this so far has been a really boring album. And I'm like, why can't we just cut all that stuff out? Give me this, last 6 songs on the album. So yeah, so we start with 10 Years Gone. it's interesting that the intro, it's long, but it's good. I like the intro, though I think it could have been a little shorter, but still overall, I like the whole melody, whole vibe of the song. I think is actually really good, and I think it has a really good guitar solo. I think on one of the best guitar solos on the album on this song.
Yeah. I like this song too. I think this is better than In the Light. I don't think it's as good as Kashmir or In My Time of Dying, but I think this is another epic song. I like how sincere the vocals are about this past relationship. I read this was inspired by a relationship that Robert Plant had, and the woman told him, "Choose me or your music." And yeah, I guess that is a hard choice. I guess Robert Plant chose the music, but 10 years later, he's reflecting upon what could have been. So I think I do kind of appreciate the sincerity of what he's singing. And the guitar part in this song is what really makes this song rock, especially that. You got that mixed with Robert Plant's vocals. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a really good song. Is it one of my favorite? Was it one? Is it in my top 5? No, but it's still really good, and it's one of the better songs on the second half of the album.
This is one of my favorite songs on the album. I love all the guitars on here. Jimmy Page called this song, like the technique he used, his guitar army. And you can really hear that. He overdubbed, I don't know how many guitar parts, but I just remember it was a lot, like 15 or something like that. He originally imagined it as a just an instrumental, but then Robert Plant was like, "Hey, I've got these lyrics about like 10 years on. Like, can we add those to it?" And first he was like, "No, I want it to be an instrumental," but they settled that out, kind of like Song Remains the Same. Yeah, Robert Plant's singing is some of his best singing on this album. This is going to be in my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, the guitars and bass really play off each other really well. Another song with a really good vibe. I was just digging it. It almost has a similar feel to In My Time of Dying, but just enough that makes it different. It's a different type of vibe that sets it apart. But yeah, when the drums kick in, that's when it really gets good. I love the sound of the guitars here. It's just, especially the guitar solo, just very melodic, which I always enjoy a good melodic guitar solo. But yeah, just kind of bouncing off what everyone else was saying. This is another very good song. This one just barely missed my top 5. It was definitely an honorable mention for sure. But yeah, this is another really great song on this album.
I'm with Bron-Y-Aur. I actually really like the song. This is a great song. I'm glad we could all agree this is a good song on the album. I was afraid we were gonna go the whole video without agreeing. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna be an episode where no one agrees on a good song, and I'm like, okay, we agree on this song at least.
Yeah.
I am with Bron-Y-Aur. This barely did not make my top 5 as well.
Am I the one who likes this song the most out of everyone?
Maybe.
Probably, but I still really like the song. It's not filler or anything. I just there was a particular song that really I love the song to begin with, but the song is in my top 5 now. But we'll see when we get to it.
Night Flight, man, what a good rock song. This is the kind of Led Zeppelin I like. Give me more of this. I really love. I've been harping a little bit on Robert Plant's vocals on this album. I think on the first video I said I didn't think his vocals were particularly that great, like compared to the other albums. Like, I don't know, it felt like he wasn't trying or something. Like, I just felt like I was like, wait, Robert Plant's not giving it at all. And then I get to this song, I'm like, all right, there's Robert Plant. He's giving it his all. He's hitting those cool Robert Plant notes that only he can hit, it seems like, and his vocal work. And I'm like, yes, this is a really good Led Zeppelin rock song. This is what I've been waiting for. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite on the album.
Yeah, this one, I guess okay. I don't really get much out of this song. Like, yeah, the production on it's good. Robert Plant sings good on it. But to me, this is more of a filler track. Like, it just comes in one ear and out the other. Like, I don't hate it. It's not garbage. I don't have the garbage can with me in this video.
I don't think anybody's going to be pulling out the garbage can on this video.
I'm not going to be bringing that up. But I don't think it's a particularly memorable song. And I think if this song, you said this was an outtake from Led Zeppelin 4. If this song was on Led Zeppelin 4, I don't think I would have given it a 10 out of 10 because Down by the Seaside's better.
Yeah. Okay. This Night Flight, this song is amazing. I love how it just starts right into the vocals that I've received a message. And you got John Paul Jones playing that organ in the background.
Yeah.
John Bonham's drumming on this song is very good. Just a good little groovy rock number to just open up this fourth and final side of the album on. I think I'm more with Jason on this song. I think it's a really good song. It's not really a filler track in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think this is another really nice song. Another one I enjoyed. I don't have much else to add. But I really enjoy the hi-hat work on this track. I think the bottom on the hi-hat sounds really great here. And John Paul Jones is on the Hammond organ, and I'm a sucker for Hammond organ. I love that sound if that makes. And even the guitars have this very bright sound, which I really dig. Again, this is another song I really enjoy. Again, didn't quite make the top 5, but it's another song I've always enjoyed.
It's an epic track. I'm with Bron-Y-Aur. It didn't make my top 5 either, but this is a really good song. I love the vibe of it. I love the energy it brings. I'm in full agreement with Jason. This is a great rock song. I think this is really good.
Okay. Well, now we are going to get to the song that is not about Chinese dumplings, I found out. It is, I'm going to see if I can pronounce it correctly, because I kept calling it the Wanton Song, but it is, in fact, the Wanton Song.
This is great Led Zeppelin. I mean, like I love it when they hit you with that rock riff, like a Whole Lot of Love. That's why I love A Whole Lot of Love, because they hit you right with that rock riff, and you're like, oh, and like Kashmir. I love Kashmir because they hit you with that riff. This is the second best riff on the album to me, behind Kashmir, probably my favorite riff on here. But this, yeah, dun 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 dun, bum bum bum, like the way the guitars, it's just, I love the guitar work on this album overall. It's amazing. Obviously, it's without saying, like the bass and the drums are amazing. You know, so every once in a while he'll hit you with these quick drum fill, and you're like, oh, that was a good drum fill. And vocally great, and yeah, it's one of those rock songs. Yeah, as soon as they started, I'm like, yes. This is I love this type of rock song. Love when they do this kind of stuff. And this is, yeah, not not one I've really heard before. It's like not a radio hit, not a big one, but not one that took off, I guess. But man, it could be one. I think it's one of those that goes up there with some of their best rock songs.
Probably gonna be the only one who said this, but I don't care for this one either.
Oh.
This is another track where I'm like, to me, it's just filler. Like the guitar riff is great. Don't get me wrong. I will give you that, Jason. I think there's a good guitar riff on here. But this is one where I'm like, compared to some of their other songs just on this album and their past songs, I don't think this one is near as memorable as some of the other songs. And
okay, so I remember when and where I was the very first time that I heard this song. It was on the radio. I did hear it on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Driving back to school, back when I was first learning how to drive. I remember my dad was like, turn on the radio. Let's see what things on the radio. And I remember this comes on, and I'm just like, what is this? This is so heavy. I'm like, this is amazing. What is this? And then I didn't even know it was Get the Let Out Time, but the guy was just like, that was Led Zeppelin with, and I don't even think he said the name of the song, but he was like, in that song, Jimmy Page took a page out of George Harrison's book and played his guitar through a Leslie speaker, and I'm like, that's really cool. And so whenever I was like, what's the Led Zeppelin song that I heard where Jimmy Page plays his guitar through a Leslie speaker with a heavy riff? I forget what the song was, because he either didn't say the name or I forgot the name of it. And anyway, I'm like, I know it's got to be on Physical Graffiti, because I'm pretty sure like that album sounds like it's from that particular era. So I'm like, it's got to be one of these. So like every other song on Physical Graffiti, I'm like, is it going to be this one? Because at first I heard Trampled Underfoot, and I'm like, was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. Maybe it was Down by the Seaside. No, it wasn't that one. Was it Night Flight? Oh, wait. It might be Night. No, wait. No, it wasn't that one. And then the second that I first listened to Physical Graffiti, and it goes, I'm like, that's the one. That's the song. That's the song. That's the one I've been looking for. It's the one with the heavy riff, and I'm like, where's the Leslie guitar speaker? And then it gets to with the Leslie speaker. I'm like, that's it. That's it. That's the. I remember I heard that. I'm like, I'm like, that is so cool. And then that's just my background with it. But those are things that I really like about the song. Forget Custard Pie. This should have been the opener. Bonham is a beast on this song. Absolutely insane. John Paul Jones is going crazy on the bass as well. Everybody's holding it down. I haven't even talked about Robert Plant yet. Robert Plant is just like wailing his heart out on this. It is insane. Yeah, crazy.
Love it. It's that guitar riff. Probably the heaviest song on the album. And I love a good heavy riff. And that riff just carries the whole thing. Yeah, again, I don't have much else to add. I think a lot of us have said it pretty extensively. But again, it's just very great. The drumming on here is spectacular. The bass, I already mentioned the guitar riff. And Robert Plant's really doing a good vocal performance here. Of course, lyrically, it's not food related. It's very sexual.
Nice.
But that doesn't matter. No one cares about that.
Except for Robert Plant.
Exactly. Just the rock stars care. But yeah, it's a big highlight for me. This is definitely in my top 5 for sure. But yeah, great song.
I agree. This is awesome. Sorry, Jacob, you're in the minority in this
Yeah.
one.
I would say I like Custard Pie better than I do. And I think Kashmir should have been the opening song on this album for the record.
I'm agreeing with Jason. I never hear this on the Hawk, and I think they should play the song of the Hawk. It just shows Led Zeppelin's, great hard side.
Boogie With Stu, another solid song on the side of the album. I'd say I really like the percussion. I think it was really, interesting, and I liked it quite a bit. I think there's a really good rocking piano on this song as well. I highlighted on my notes that I thought was really good. And I'm pretty sure there's like a mandolin solo in here.
Yes, there was.
Yes. I always love it when they throw a mandolin in. All of a sudden, I'm like, yes, I love the mandolin. So I love this little. I don't remember it being really throughout the song, but I just remember like a little solo of the mandolin or something like that. I was like, that was a nice touch. Yeah. So overall, another really good song.
Love it. No, I'm just saying because I wasn't as big on the last two, so I just want to say I do really like Boogie With Stu. The big thing that makes this song awesome is Ian Stewart and the piano that he adds to the song. I think this was an outtake from Zeppelin 4, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it kind of subverts expectations too, because you think this would be like more of a rock and roll type track, kind of like what rock and roll was, but with the mandolin, it almost has more of a country type jam to it. Like this song could have been on Led Zeppelin 3 if they wanted to, and I think it did. But I do really like this one. It's catchy. I think it's one of the more memorable songs on both ends of the album. It's definitely one of my favorites in the second half, and I think it's a great track, underrated song.
So if you've been watching our Rolling Stones series over on Townsend 505, you know how everybody appreciates Ian Stewart. Ian Stewart brings a lot to this song. His piano playing is very good. This is just like a fun little jam after the absolute smack in the face of the Wanton Song. It's kind of funny, the story behind this, because it's a jam based on an old Richie Valens song, and the members of the band credited it to his mom. This and the next song are just kind of have a fun, more easygoing, not so serious vibe that I really enjoy.
I like it. I'm kind of similar to Scott. I was sure this was going to be a lot lower for me, but on this re-listen, I was starting to warm up to it a lot more, because there's a lot of good things, and we've all kind of mentioned them already. Again, Ian Stewart on the piano really sounds great here, and again, you have great guitar and mandolin in this track, which sound really good. And I think Robert Plant's vocals are pretty cool as well. I think they set the tone pretty well.
I love this song. It's a fun song. Hey, I'm glad we could all agree this is a good song on the album. When I first heard the song, I'm like, whoa, this song's awesome, and the way that Robert Plant's singing with the effects. I love the piano playing, especially by Ian Stewart, which he may not be an official member, but to me he is. To me, he will always be a Rolling Stone to me. But yeah, this is awesome song. Just amazing. I've always loved this song.
Black Country Woman.
Yeah, I like that we are getting to this kind of acoustic song after we get some good rock songs here, and I like it when we change it up a little bit with Led Zeppelin. Love their great guitar riffs and stuff, but then they go acoustic. I like it too as much, and I thought this was a really good acoustic guitar riff going throughout the song. I really kind of enjoyed Robert Plant's vocals. They're a little bit different. They're not as like big, high, screeching vocals, but overall, I kind of really enjoyed the melody of this. The "Oh woman," whatever. Like the melody kind of stuck with me. While I'm like, I was kind of like really into it and like singing along to it, anyways. And yeah, it's another song I thought was actually really good on the album.
Yeah, I am on country music, and yeah, I like this one a lot too. I like the acoustic instruments. Robert Plant sings really good on the song. There's some really interesting imagery that really stands out, like the like "Why'd you leave me with a beer in my face?" Like I'm never gonna forget that anytime soon. That's kind of a funny line to me.
How romantic.
Yeah. And then I was
We
like,
haven't we?
and then listening to it again, I'm like, okay, the black country woman makes sense. Like, it's not talking about black as in, you know, the color of your skin. It's the way that she abandons this guy. That's a cold move. So it's like the color black in that regard. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting little analogy there. But the song itself is really good. It's one of my favorites on Physical Graffiti, and it may or may not be in my top 5.
So, for the longest time, this was my least favorite song on the album,
Oh, wow.
Okay.
but not anymore. Now I like it. I love the beginning. The beginning is hilarious, where you just hear these airplane sounds, and one of the studio engineers is talking to Jimmy Page. It's like, "Oh no, Jimmy, there was an airplane in there," and then Jimmy Page says, "No, just leave it in there. We'll deal with it." And then they start playing. Oh my goodness, an actual airplane! We'll just leave that. Yeah, but that's funny. This kind of has a more fun feel to it.
So I was kind of similar with Scott for a good while. This was one of my least favorites, but again, revisiting to it, I do hear some great things about it. It's just an acoustic number. Not too much going on, but I do like the drum rhythm. Overall, it's a very nice track.
I'm like the only one who really liked the song on the first listen. I'm like, song's amazing.
I liked it on the first listen.
Oh yeah, for you too. I'm like, the song's amazing, and yeah, actually I remember now because I have a playlist on Spotify of rock bands who do country rock. I call it Ultimate Country Rock Playlist or whatever. And like Jacob was like, "Is this on your playlist?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, it's like you should add it. I'm
Fix that.
I will say this was never in my top 5. For the longest time, this was always towards the middle of my list.
Okay. Cool. Okay, we are down to the last song on the album, number 15, and that is Sick Again.
Yeah, for closer, I thought this was a pretty good rock song. I think overall, really like the guitar and bass and drums are all good as always on these type of songs. I think Plant's voice, not one of his strongest vocal works on the album, but maybe the weakest part of the song. But still, overall, thought it was a solid. I don't know if it's the best closer for the album, but it's like not bad. I think it was actually still a pretty good song.
It's to sour the mood again. I wasn't that crazy on this one. I like the guitar. Pretty much anything involving the production still really good.
Yeah.
I just think compared to past Led Zeppelin closers, and this just feels subpar in comparison. And mixed it up with like, I think out of all the songs on this album, this is the one where I'm like, I really am a little disturbed by the lyrical content of this song. If this was an actual situation that happened with Robert Plant and I witnessed it, I'd be calling the cops.
70s was wild.
Yeah, 70s are wild.
It's the 70s.
Automatically, just because of that fact, it has to go to the worst song on the album. Musically, it's pretty good, but like, I don't know. I can't get past that.
So when it comes to this song, obviously we've talked about the lyrics, and yes, they're very problematic. But you know, I've said this before, I can't understand what Robert Plant's saying anyway, so it doesn't really affect
I
me.
never pay attention to lyrics. It's funny.
Yeah,
you
it
guys
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
like lyrics.
exactly. Unless I look it up, then yes, I would know what he's saying. But
Right.
because I don't understand him half the time, it doesn't
Right.
really bother me too much.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, musically, I think musically it's very good. Again, probably another very heavy guitar riff. Riff here is very good. The drumming on here is top notch. Musically, it's just a really great rock song.
Yeah, this is an awesome closer to me. Lyrically, I will agree with everyone here. It's not the best, but musically, it's so good. The drumming on this is probably the best drum I've ever heard from Bonham, if you ask me. In my opinion, I think this is probably my favorite album closer by them.
So yeah, that's the track by track. We're now gonna do our top 5 songs, and starting with Jason.
All right. Number 5, I got Black Country Woman.
Oh wow.
Number 4, I got Night Flight. Number 3, I got Trampled Underfoot. Number 2, I got the Wanton Song. And number 1, Kashmir.
Okay. My top 5. Look at the list real quick. I actually got 3 honorable mentions I'll share real quick, and they are Houses of the Holy, 10 Years Gone, and really close to being in my top 5 at number 6 is Trample Underfoot. That one was really close. I think it's like some of the lyrics in that are a little cringy. Some of the weird analogies in that song, but I love the production of that song. Like, it's a really catchy song, but I prefer the top 5. But going into the top 5, number 5, Black Country Woman. Number 4, Boogie with Stu. Number 3, Down by the Seaside. And then number 2, Kashmir. And number 1, In My Time of Dying.
So what I'm feeling right now is number 1 is going to be Kashmir. Number 2 will be 10 Years Gone.
Oh wow.
Number 3, Trampled Underfoot. I really like that song. I only get 2 more. Oh man, number 4, Wanton Song. And number 5, I really hate doing this, but Down by the Seaside. I really wanted In My Time of Dying to be In My Time of Dying is number 6. It's the honorable mention, but I had to go with Down by the Seaside. Then Night Flight would probably be my other honorable mention, and number 7.
All right, I guess I'll throw 3 honorable mentions. Again, they were very close, but I'm not no order, but for honorable mentions, House of the Holy. And then I also had Down by the Seaside. I was really hoping that would be in my top 5, but just barely missed out. And another honorable mention I'll throw out is 10 Years Gone. So now to the top 5. I'm probably going to be the only one to have this song in my top 5, but at number 5, I have The Rover.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Not a top 5 for me, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, the riff is great. So, number 4, In My Time of Dying. Number 3, The Wanton Song. Number 2, Trampled Underfoot. And number 1, Kashmir.
Number 5, the Rover.
All right. I'm
Rover.
not the only one.
Yes, it was a toss up between that and Down by the Seaside, but the Rover, the groove of it, and the
Mhm.
I'm like, this has to be at least in my top 5, well, at least for now. Number 4, Black Country Woman. Song is awesome. It wasn't originally on my top 5. Remember how it was mentioned before? It was like, for the longest time, it was in the middle. It was. Now it's in my top 5. Number 3, Boogie with Stu. Number 2, in my time at 9, and my favorite song on the album is I'm like the only one who really likes the song, and that is In the Light.
I mean, I like In the Light. I just didn't make my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an all right song. It's not one of my favorites.
My favorite song, but
Score out of 10.
All right. So for me, it's a 6 out of 10. It's one of my least favorite Led Zeppelin albums. There's like 8 pretty good songs here, but then there's 7 that are really not good at all. If I'm doing the math right, I hope I'm doing the math right. But yeah, especially in Time of Dying, if in the Light, man, some of the worst Led Zeppelin stuff for me.
All right. I guess it's on me. I'm kind of in a similar boat as Jason, but not as bad. I don't think this should have been a double album. I do think there are some filler tracks on this album, especially on the second disc. Because the highs are so high, I'm actually going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think I would have given it a lower score because I don't think it should have been a double album, but I think because of the best songs on it, I'm going to go 7.
Okay. I thought very long and hard about what to give this, and I have settled on a 9. I think it is a very good album. Just has 2 or 3 songs I'm not too big on, so I like most of the album. So I'm gonna give it a 9.
So I will admit, when we began the series, I was very confident I was not gonna give a Led Zeppelin album a 10 out of 10. I've always enjoyed Led Zeppelin, but they've never been like, even still, I won't say they're a top 10 band for me. Again, I enjoy them, but they're not really the band I go for very often.
Okay.
But when getting to this album and giving it much needed thought, and at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10.
yes,
One thing I really enjoy about this album, it's a long album, but there's a ton of variety here, and I tend to gravitate towards albums with variety. And with this album, if you really think about it, you really get a little bit of everything that kind of made them great in their prime. And it helps because with the outtakes, you have a little bit of everything. You have the blues rock, you have the hard rock, you have the acoustic tracks. It's kind of like big culmination of everything that kind of made them great during this time.
I'm so excited that he had a different opinion than me. I'm gonna cheer on. No, of course, I'm kidding. This is a perfect album. This is my 25th favorite album of all time. It's really high in my top 100 albums list. This is an epic album. Bron-Yr-Aur summed it up perfectly. The variety. This doesn't feel like a long album. Every second to me is worth it. There's not a second wasted on this thing, as opposed to the other most popular Zeppelin album, where I feel like there's many seconds wasted on that album. This is definitely easily their best album for me. House of the Holy, extremely close second, but to me, this is way better than 4. To me, it's like no competition.
Okay, has anybody done the average of the scores?
8.75 out of 10.
Okay, so averaging it out, it's an 8.75 as the total average scores from everybody. That will complete our Led Zeppelin review of Physical Graffiti. When we come back to you, hopefully next week, we will be attempting the dreaded Presence album.
I'm excited to review it. I love that album.
It's a very polarizing album, to say the least. We'll see you next week. I'm actually kind of excited about reviewing this album because Achilles' Last Stand is All right, we'll see you later. Just remember, music is art, art is expression. See you guys.